Danke. It's 2007 in Jackson, Mississippi. A young man stumbles into the emergency room. His hands are shaking, he's sweating, and he's barely conscious. He gasps, "Help me, I'm in a clinical trial and I took all of my pills." Then he collapses onto the floor. Doctors rush in. His blood pressure is dangerously low, 80/40. They pump liters of saline into his blood, but nothing seems to work. He's slipping away. Then a doctor from the clinical trial arrives. He picks up the empty pill bottle from the floor, looks at it and says, "These pills weren't real." The young man had been part of the clinical trial, but he was in the control group. He swallowed 29 sugar pills, completely harmless. Yet his body believed otherwise. The moment he learns the truth, his vitals stabilize, and within minutes he's completely fine. This is the nocebo effect. Belief alone can make us sick. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality in powerful ways. Like, for example, my reality was dramatically shaped a couple of days ago in a kind of embarrassing dad moment. I was shopping for a new cologne, and I narrowed it down to 3 options. And I was putting the options on my arms and my hand, and I was trying to figure out which one to go with. And after a couple of minutes, my nose gave up. I couldn't tell anymore. Luckily, I was meeting my daughters afterwards for a coffee. And when I arrived there, sat down at their table and asked for their opinion, something remarkable happened. I'd put my favorite cologne on the back of my right hand, and when my older daughter smelled the cologne, her eyes widened, her face was like in shock, and she was like, "Dad, you're not serious about this one. All the 18-year-old guys doused themselves with this stuff. This is the player's cologne. Don't do that." I guess she said, "Don't be embarrassing," right? I had heard stories about the cologne before, but I didn't connect the dots. After all, it was a well-known and expensive brand, and just minutes ago I had liked it. But now it felt cheap, overpowering, and even annoying. I would have loved to get it off my hand. So in the real world, nothing had changed with the cologne, but in my mind, in the imagined world, everything changed. I will never touch this cologne ever again. Luckily, the storyteller, my daughter, only meant well for me when she warned me. But often in our lives, that's not the case. Too often, we leave the storytelling in the hands of those who want to manipulate us. So ask yourself, who is winning the daily battle for your attention right now? Is it the climate scientist who carefully collects data over years and writes cautious research reports? Or is she overshadowed by someone confidently calling climate change a hoax? Yes, we all know it's not a hoax, but did you know that repetition is so powerful? Even if you know a story is false, if you hear it again and again and again, you start to believe it is true. The smartest people in the real world are often the least convincing in the imagined world. They are trapped by the curse of knowing too much because facts are complicated and messy. If you don't care about facts, you can make your point with remarkable conviction. So, I think we all agree we need the right people to tell better stories. But the point that I want to make is that this is not enough. We need something else, something deeper. And for that to understand, imagine there's a hidden room in your mind. And inside this room, something quietly shapes your beliefs, your decisions, and ultimately your future. Stories don't exist in isolation. Stories are like pieces of a puzzle, and once those pieces come together, they're creating something bigger, a narrative. Narratives are patterns that emerge from stories. If you go back to my cologne experience, in my mind, a narrative emerged something like, this cologne isn't for me. It sends the wrong message. Now, the concept of narratives can seem a bit abstract. So I want to make this real for everyone here and take an example that I bet all of you have in your pockets or in your bags. What could this be? No, it's not lipstick. No, not the protein bar. The smartphone. It's not the smartphone. It's not the smartphone. What could this be? So it's money. I hope everyone has money with them, actually. Okay. Money itself is an amazing example of the power of the imagined world, because this is just a piece of paper with a 100 on it, and we all collectively believe that it's worth $100, right? So powerful. But I don't mean this narrative. I mean another narrative, which is closely connected to money and kind of drives one of the most important decisions in your life. And I want to ask you, who here invests money in stocks? Who thinks investing in stocks is a smart thing and you are doing things in the market? Quite a lot of hands. I think you're above average if you take everyone. Who thinks might be interesting, but this is too risky for me. I kind of stay away a bit from stocks, so I'm not investing in stocks yet, and I'm kind of okay. Thank you very much. Both groups, both things are narratives, right? Investing is smart is a narrative, and investing is too risky for me, it's also a narrative. These narratives have been built over time in your life because you hear many stories, maybe you experienced them yourself from your family or social media or wherever this was coming from. The interesting thing now is the stock market has been the best way to build wealth for over 100 years. Nothing comes even close. Right? So millions of people who are not investing because of a narrative, because for them investing feels not like a responsible thing, but it feels like gambling. And right now, something fascinating is happening in your brains. What did I just do? I told you a story. I told you the story that investing is by far, in the real world, based on facts, the best thing to do with your money. And for those of you with the narrative that investing is smart, and those of you who are kind of doing it right now, how did it feel to hear that story? How did it feel? Good, yes. Oh, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. Somebody believed. Somebody confirmed my belief of the world. So good. Okay, now things get harder. Who here who's not investing? You just learned you make a huge financial mistake. How did it feel for your brain? How did it feel? Painful? Huh? Not true. Okay, painful. It's painful. And what's your brain doing? Your brain is stressed right now, and your brain is trying one thing, to dismiss what it just heard. That's the thing. Maybe it's about me, maybe whatever, or if it on social media would probably swipe me away if you could, but I'm here. So this is confirmation bias. Our brain actively looks for stories which confirm your current view of the world, your narratives. Everything else is ignored as long as possible. This is why narratives, once you have them, are so hard to change. And this is why we have things like filter bubbles and polarization. Because once you think something, it's so hard to get you away from that. So if we want to shape the imagined world, we need to find a way to change narratives. And that's a pretty hard thing. And the question is, how can we do that? And that's something that was driving me. And I wanted to find out. And I looked at iconic campaigns, brands, movements, who all had managed to change a narrative. How did they do it? And I found a pattern. And the good news is, what took me 2 years to research is something you get now in a couple of minutes. So here's the beginner's guide for changing narratives in 3 simple rules. Rule number 1, repetition builds narratives. Repetition builds narratives. Repetition builds narratives. I know it's annoying, but unfortunately it's very effective. If you want somebody to do something, nothing will happen if you tell it only once, or the second time, or the third time. Repetition is the staircase that moves your audience from knowing to understanding to taking action, step by step. It's hardly possible to jump to the top in one step. This is why marketers talk about the rule of 7. Consumers, on average, need 7 touch points with a product or a service before they make a buying decision. Repetition is best done when it's not, like I did in the beginning, one person repeats the same thing over and over again. It's best done with different stories from different voices, but all paying into the same narrative. So, repetition builds narratives. Rule number 1, just when you're tired of saying it, that's when your audience starts to hear it. Rule number 2. Rule number 2 is connect your stories to the narratives of your audience. And for that, I want to start with a story. I grew up in East Germany, and as a kid I would sit hours in front of the TV and see countless stories that painted capitalism as a rigged game. A few rich people would win and everyone else would lose. For me, buying stocks was definitely gambling, and the stock exchange was just a big casino. So when I grew up and the wall came down and we could try all these things in this new free world, I stayed far away from investing in stocks. This only changed over years, and after hearing countless stories on how people got successful and rich by investing in stocks. And afterwards, I also have seen more and more that these stories really made sense for the people in their regard. I then also got my opinion about investing dramatically shifted by someone who reframed it to me. And he reframed it to me in a way that traditionally investing was seen as saving for retirement. Something, and that's also a narrative, something that not all 20-year-olds really care about. But I got it reframed to investing is something where you build financial independence. And that deeply resonated with me because it was about finding the purpose in your life and building and living the life on your own terms, and how I wanted to do that. That was powerful. So these were 2 examples for stories. And the first story about how I grew up with investing is a story that resonates if you think investing is not a good idea. If you think it's risky, I resonated with you with that story. I didn't judge it. I related to it. That's powerful. That's a powerful way to build trust with an audience. The second story about the reframing of investing was I connected a new narrative that investing is smart to a deep belief almost everyone has. The deep belief that we all want to live a free and independent life. These deep beliefs are called master narratives, and they are deeply embedded in our culture and in our identity as a society. So rule number 2, connect your stories to existing narratives. That way they can resonate deeper, and if you do that, it doesn't feel like you want to change somebody's mind, but it will feel like common sense. Now, for rule number 3, I need help here on the stage, and I need help from Lucky. Lucky is a dog I love dearly, and rule number 3 is rewrite your own narratives. And why is Lucky here? This is how he looks like when I pick up a stick and I'm about to throw it. And his eyes lock in and his body tenses. And the second I let go, he will run for the stick. And believe me, he can do this many, many, many times. My point is, we all are a bit like Lucky, because life throws sticks at us every day. Opportunities, setbacks, decisions, and more often than not, we kind of react automatically to these sticks, based on the narratives in our mind in that hidden room. And that's not a bad thing, because otherwise life wouldn't be manageable. Imagine you would get up in the morning and go into deep thinking if you should brush your teeth or get the kids ready for school. That's good. But on the other hand, you're missing some of the possibilities in your life if you treat everything as a stick. Because unlike Lucky, we can choose. We can choose if we let that hidden room in our mind control our beliefs and decisions without us even noticing. Or we can go inside the room, switch on the light, take a look around, and decide which of the narratives we want to keep and which ones we want to change. Now, I'd love to do a short experiment with you. Please close your eyes and think about a narrative that you keep repeating in your mind. Maybe it's something that's limiting you. Maybe it's something from your personal life, your hobbies, your family, your relationships. Maybe it's something from work, from your career, from your goals. If you have something, imagine the opposite would be true. Imagine what your life would look like if the opposite would be true. Change starts in our minds with the narratives we keep repeating to ourselves. You can open your eyes again. I hope you've found or you've seen a narrative. The exciting thing about changing narratives in our mind is once you do that, you gain a superpower. And the superpower is that you suddenly know both sides of the story. You understand why people believe what they believe, and you know what change feels like. And with that, you don't just change yourself, you change others by inspiring others, because you are able to inspire others to change their narratives too. And with that, you can change your relationships, your communities, your teams, and your organizations. Because you're not just the audience of your story, you're the author. And the pen is in your hands. Thank you.